Well, folks, here is proof that you can come home again. Mike Summey is back on the Wolfpack staff. He's a graduate of NC State, 1997, has long been a Wolfpack fan, and now he will be on Kevin Keats' staff. Mike, first off, welcome back to the Pack, my friend.
Thanks, Jeff. It feels like I never left. It has been 20 plus years, but it's, Wolfpack's inside me. It's always been inside me, and I'm really happy to be home again.
How have you tried to connect with the staff and the current players in these current conditions that we're in of separation?
I think like everyone, this Zoom, phone calls, staff has been terrific. Coach Keats calling and checking on me, making sure that I'm good, I'm settled in. As a staff, we get to talk on Zoom chats, and I get to interact with the staff and get to know them a little bit better. It's one of the things you miss from not being in an office, and we understand the gravity of the situation and that our world is going through right now with COVID-19. And obviously, interacting as a staff isn't the most important thing that's on people's minds. But it is one of the things that when you take a new job, you like to be able to do so you can get to know the guys you work with a little bit better.
Mike, how did this opportunity materialize as far as you being able to come back to NC State?
It materialized over a period of time. Takeo Siddle, who left here to become the head coach at UNC Wilmington, our relationship goes way back. 2003, 2004, I was an assistant coach at Queen's University of Charlotte and recruited little guard out of Moorhead, North Carolina, at a John Moorhead High School, I should say, and was able to get him to sign at Queens. And then in turn, there was a coaching change. The head coach left, but I stayed in touch with Takeo. And he went on to play for Coach Keats at Hargrave, and their relationship began. And so over the years, I've been able to stay in touch with him a little bit. And through that relationship, I got to know Coach Keats, and he got to know me a little bit. And, over the last couple of years, we've remained in contact. And this is just something, this is a dream job for me, Jeff. Like this is where I've always wanted to be. From being a 6-year-old, 7-year-old in Hickory, North Carolina, growing up, watching the Wolfpack, being in love with the Wolfpack, some of those great teams back in the early to mid 80s. It was real easy for a 6 and a 7-year-old to be enthralled by Coach Valvano and those teams. Up until right now, every day that I've worked has been to get back to here. And so I was able to express that to Coach Keats and share that with him. And he was so gracious to give me this opportunity. And I want to make sure that I make it worth his while.
When you were at NC State, you got to work with two coaches, Les Robinson and Herb Sendek. You were a student manager and a grad manager. What was your role with that? And I guess for you, it was just let me be a part of a team.
That was it. That early on, that was really it. It was just, I'll do anything. And, when you first started with Coach Robinson, the professor on campus, John Griggs, who's a really super special guy. And one of the first calls that I was able to make after I found out that I got the job, first people I talked to was John Griggs. And he was really special to all of us that came through that program, because a lot of people, when you're at a place like NC State, there's a lot of people begging for opportunities to be a part of it. People want to be part of the Wolfpack. They want to be part of ACC basketball and NC State basketball. And so first year I was working with him as a statistician. I sat up in the perches. And I heard those are gone now out of Reynolds. That was sad, but they probably, maybe they needed to go, but they that was a special place for those of us that came through that process and made a lot of friends through that. In the next 2 years, I did video, which was an opportunity to travel, but it also, one of the things I like to say, like, yes, my journey's been a long one, and it's been up and down the East Coast into the Midwest, and then finally back here to NC State. But if you think of a ladder for your career, and your ladder as far as learning the steps that you go to do what I do today, I didn't skip any steps. Even from the process of taking stats my freshman year, where they said you show up 2 or 3 days a week, and I wanted to show up every day. So I'd show up every day. I just wanted to be around it. I knew this is what I wanted to do. To doing video, which is paid dividends in helping me understand the game better and understanding how the process goes from that to this and how we want to take it there. And so I got to do that for 2 years. And so under Coach Robinson, those were the roles that I had and the things that I got to do and experiences I got to have. Then Coach Sendek came and my role changed a little bit.
You got to go through the process to appreciate the process.
You really do. And when Coach Sendek got there, I got to be more involved from, he said, you know, what would you like out of this? And I said, I want to be the head manager. Like, I want to go from here to here, but not just to here, but I'm ready for this. Like, I can do this. And so my whole process with that was just to be more involved, to learn more, to grow, as hopefully wanting to be in this profession. And Coach Sendek, Coach Robinson, and all the coaches before, they allowed me that opportunity. And with Coach Sendek, as I was an older guy, I got to be more involved and be in on meetings and listen and learn. And so there were a lot of really cool experiences through that.
I guarantee you your role has changed under Coach Kevin Keats. You won't be keeping stats in the upper deck. You won't have as much video to splice together. But what do you see your role is under Coach Keats?
You know, my big thing is just to add value, Jeff. I want to do whatever helps our program grow and be the best. Whatever Coach Keats feels that my role, that I'm best suited to do. I feel like I can wear a lot of hats. Having been on a lot of different staffs, you learn to wear a lot of hats and do a lot of different things. And to do that, you have to understand why you're doing it, how you're doing it, when you're doing it, where you're doing it, and you answer all those questions. So I can do a lot of different things. I want to do what he feels is best for me to do on this staff. He's been so unbelievable since the day that I got here, since the day we first talked about this, in giving me this opportunity. I just want to add value. I just want to add value and make sure that each day I'm giving back to a place and a person in Coach Keats that's given so much to me already.
You certainly have deep, deep roots to this university. You have a story to tell. When you go on the road to recruits, when you talk to people, just explain, if you can, how deep your roots are to this university and this basketball program.
Yeah, you know, Jeff, I get chills when you talk about that, because to me, like, you put on a basketball jersey and you got a name on the front and a name on the back. And you know the name on the back is always important to all of us because that's who we are, that's our family, that's who we represent. But that name on the front, NC State, has always been so important to me. I remember my first Wolfpack shirt when I was 6 years old. I remember my aunt that got it for me and said, this is Big Red Country. And it was the strutting wolf. And I was, you know, it was red with white. And I just remember that shirt. Like, I remember being a Wolfpack fan from the earliest of days. And, you know, I went to Coach Valvano's camp when I was 10 and 11 years old, 12 years old, and had my picture taken and got to be in Reynolds Coliseum for the first time and walk around the campus. And for a kid who's done nothing but watch it on TV, those were moments that you never forget. And those are things that I'm so fortunate I got to live through and be a part of. And then to come to school here, you know, I applied early. I got in very early, September of my senior year, and I never wavered, never wanted to be anywhere else. This was my school from as far back as I can remember, and it always will be.
Before we wrap things up, I just want to welcome you back. I want to tell you that some things have changed, some things have not on campus. So I look forward to the day when you can walk the campus again and see those familiar sights and get reacquainted with your university. Mike Summey, thanks for joining us and welcome back to the Pack.
Jeff, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and I'm really excited to be back here.